Hello, welcome to Breakfast Central from a rainy day in Lagos, Nigeria's commercial capital. A lot of people have said, you know, this is showers of blessings. 26 uninterrupted year of our democratic experience since 1999. And today marks the second year anniversary of the Bola Ahmed Tinubu APC administration. There's a lot for you in store today. We'll be giving you analysis and, of course, assessment of the two-year administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. I am Benga Aborowa.
And I am Olive Emodi. Thank you very much for joining us this morning as we mark 2 years of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in office. I would like to urge you to share with us your thoughts on social media as to what the past 2 years has been like for you. Well, we agree, a number of us agree that it's not been the most easy 2 years, but have there been any highlights for you in the past 2 years? You can tweet at us at News Central TV on all platforms. I'll be glad to take your responses. Welcome once again to the show.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for staying with us. I'm Joe Hansen, and it's going to be 3 hours of nothing more than the best as we take an incisive look and also share with you what definitely Nigerians are saying concerning 2 years. 2 full years of nothing more than Nigeria's, presidency, taking the charge and taking helms of affairs, ensuring that every single Nigerian is indeed taken care of. Well, you could look at it from different aspects or perspective, but from us here, we'll be looking at it from a general overview, and that's why we'll be having very interesting guests join us. Some would join us online, which is via video conferencing, and hopefully, as the rain continues to pour down heavily, we hope it will stop so that we can have our guests join us here as well anytime soon. So, Benga, Olive, it's 2 years, and we would be looking at this incisively, most importantly, mixed from the political economy
exactly.
and every other aspect.
Right.
I'm looking forward to getting into the show proper, but from a personal note, I'll say it's mixed bags. There's one thing I would say that worked positively for me in this administration, and kudos to the president and the Minister of Works. Third Mainland Bridge, it was a nightmare before the Tinubu administration, and they've done renovation works in the past where they will close the bridge for 6 months, and then when they open it, it will still be back to the same thing. This was a total overhaul. It was almost as if they built a brand new bridge. I mean, the fittings, the painting, the works, the layers, it wasn't a patchwork. So that's one thing that I can't say, because I remember the way that bridge was before the Tinubu administration. It was riddled with potholes. It was dark. The street lights didn't work, and the Tinubu administration did great work. The Ministry of Works, total overhaul of that bridge. So that's one of my positives for this administration.
Oh, that's good. Well, I think that works. Well, I think one that is starting to catch up, which I think we could say is one of the positives, is the NEL fund. Students are starting to come out.
Well, you're not a student, you're not a beneficiary. Is there anything that you've benefited directly from?
I am not.
Or are you doing your PhD?
I'm going to...
There's no law for PhD, I'm sorry. Maybe try during the second term.
I'm going to highlight it for, in the aspect of students. Yeah. Students are coming out to say, oh, my school fees was paid by the federal government and so on and so forth. And, you know, like we always say, let's see proof. We've always asked for proof. You would have a situation whereby you have people, let's even talk about the monies that the federal government says they would be sharing. They tell you, oh, we gave 50,000 naira to over 2.something million people.
Cash transfers.
And then we always ask, as journalists, as broadcasters, be it on TV, on radio, and we say, okay, if you collected this money, please call in. Or better said, if you collected this money, we have been forced to invite people to come on air and say, okay, just join us on set and tell us. But we're starting to see it differently from the NEL fund aspect, where students are coming out themselves to say, oh yes, I received, oh my school fees was paid for, oh this and that. And
even though they are also dragging their schools, because the students typically don't receive it directly. The
I mean, the schools are taking things like processing fees.
Yeah.
I mean, they're extorted, basically.
Well, I do recall, I think when we had the Nelfund boss here and some of the things that was mentioned, it was stated clearly that the monies will not be paid to individuals, but will be paid directly to the schools. And I think that's a good one. I agree with that because Nigeria, we know how funny we could be sometimes where you have people even filing that they're students, whereas they are not, just because they want to get that money hit. They want to ensure that the money hits their account, and then of course it's Jaye.
Well, but I don't know. I don't know if individuals can even. I think that might be a bit harder because they have to go through the school unless they are colluding with the school.
That's what we're saying. Which is also possible. I mean, you could even have staff in quotes of the school who wouldn't even mind to register their own
the
family
focus
members.
Is on the positives.
Okay,
people who can pay have an opportunity to
those who have had their school fees paid, it's a good thing for them, and I think that's one of the positives. The only thing I hope is if it could be continued in the next 2 years, it doesn't stop, and then transparency is very, very important because if you recall, a few months ago, there were fingers pointing towards the Nelfund process that it seems to be shady and so on, and then they had to come out to
every
clear
Nigerian, our
themselves.
middle name is Thomas, Olive Thomas, Emodi, Jonathan Thomas.
I don't know about that. I don't have any Thomas in my name.
We're doubters.
I mean, I don't know about that, but that's what it is. So I think that's a positive so far. So
Olive is looking very meek. She wants to inherit the earth this morning.
You can call me McNeil.
Olive, it seems you are checking inside your Google Drive to find answers. You are digging deep.
Positive. I mean, you've seen in the past 2 years. I mean, you're not only
I think we should do 1 year now. Because you have to look at where you are.
No, it's 2 years.
Because we had an analysis last year, so we should look at 1 year.
1 year is gone. 1 year is gone.
No, like the past 1 year. What has happened? What happened in the first year of his administration that maybe has improved in the second year of his administration?
Okay. I mean, it's your view. So go ahead.
So, in the first year of his administration, I did not have a nephew. In the second year, I have a nephew, which is a good thing for me.
That's personal now.
Voila.
That's not a governmental news.
I will talk about that much later because I think it's very important that I talk about having become an auntie to my nephew as part of the show much later. But maybe I would say that we had a lot of instances of fuel scarcity in the first year of his administration. It was so bad that a lot of us were trauma buying. Those of us that could afford to trauma buy. Oh yes, I did.
A whole celebrity like you. A whole diva is a female definition of a hustler like you. I can't believe my eyes.
My dear,
wow, this is what government did to you.
If you did not have cake, it will walk you like this. Do you like a dream? You'll just be going home and you'll get home and realize all of a sudden.
You're in trouble.
On your way home, actually, you will start with, you just start seeing the filling stations you usually buy from. All of them are closed. You see the staff standing, but nobody's selling. It was, I think, the trauma of not having fuel was the most terrible, one of the most terrible things that I could have experienced as a Nigerian. I'll never forget one time I had gone on holiday, had a good time, enjoyed my life, came back into the country. The day I came back was the day it started. I just started crying. I was wailing that, what kind of life is this? I've come from somewhere where electricity is not a problem for me. Here I don't have electricity, I don't even have access to petrol. But I would say that in the past year, I don't think we've had as much incidences of fuel scarcity as we would have had typically, right? Expensive, yes, and even the rate of how expensive it is, we started to see it come down.
I mean, it got to a height of 1,000
exactly
plus at some point.
So I think it's a lot better for us now, because that's the one thing that a number of people said before, that it's expensive, yes, but at least let's have access to the product, because it's double jeopardy for it to not be accessible and to still be expensive. So there has been much access to petrol, and I won't even just give kudos to the administration, to be honest. I think also the Dangote refinery played a huge role in ensuring that we have accessibility. Him also being able to take the bull by the horn and cause a change in the NNPC. For years, they've been asking for the unbundling of the NNPC and how we need to know how much is going into the Federal Reserves every month, year from the NNPC, because we didn't have a clear picture. But there's optimism that has been expressed that with the recent reshuffling that's happened in the NNPC, we'll see a much more clearer
because they seem to have
system
industry
there.
professionals that have been appointed into the board and managerial positions. So we'll wait and see.
And that we will no longer be hearing propaganda of this refinery is now working, and then 2 months later it has shut down. This refinery is working. No,
How
they are
can something be
blending.
working last month and you are shutting it down for turnaround maintenance?
Do you understand?
This month.
So yeah, I think accessibility to fuel. But that will pose the question to you. What has the past year of the President Tinubu-led administration been for you? Were there positives? And if there are positives, we will get into the ones where we are being critical or where we are criticizing the things that haven't worked. But what are the things that have worked for you in this administration? Let us know. You can tweet at us individually. You can tweet at Joe Hansen, Benga Borowa, Oliver Modi, and you can also tweet at News Central TV. So we will be glad to take your tweets today on air.
Absolutely, absolutely. But don't forget too that in the course of the 3 hours, we'll be analyzing and looking deeply into, as mentioned by Olive, some of the things that have worked and some of the promises that were made and have not indeed been fulfilled. So many of them. During the May Day, the president, in his speech, said that he is determined to fight corruption. And he would ensure that he fights corrupt officials, whoever it is, basically corruption, especially to the detriment of the downtrodden, those who are, down there, who are struggling, and so on and so forth. It kind of like sounded a bit like a song, a bittersweet song, because the reactions came immediately when Nigerians were saying, oh, really? The president wants to fight corruption? The government wants to fight corruption? So how do we go about not holding people accountable, especially those who have been corrupt, in the glaring eyes of every single individual?
And I hope as we're also holding the president accountable and looking at his scorecard, we also have multitudes of elected officials in Nigeria. They almost get a get out of jail free card. If they like it when the attention is on the president. So the search beam isn't really much on them. And I'm talking of governors and senators.
I'm glad
and
you mentioned governors
officials.
because a certain government at the 2023 elections promised his citizens that he would get at least 4,000 or 40,000 youths to Europe. They will get jobs. That in fact, when you get it, the government will sponsor your flights and everything.
Said he was going to sponsor them. I think we have the footage somewhere. He was going to sponsor them a trip. Wow.
Yes, a certain governor in the southeastern part of the country.
So it would be nice to know what the situation is.
Nothing has happened.
Nothing happening.
None of them have
no need to witness.
No.
The people are crying. Even Benin Republic, they couldn't go.
That's
those are grandiose
it's nice we take a holistic look at not just the team.
Yes, not just all the people that are working in the administration, the governors and all the like.
Local government and the likes. But then again, I want to welcome you officially to Breakfast Central. It's a special edition. Our guests will be joining us as we take a look at the scorecard of the current administration, the presidency, not forgetting to the one who is indeed heading the entire state. Don't forget, we also have State of the Nation to discuss as well, which is a bigger conversation in the past 2 years.